7 of the 10 SUVs in this test failed. Not struggling, not underperformed. Failed, as in the driver had to stop, back up and go around. The manufacturers of those 7 vehicles are currently running advertisements telling you their vehicle is trail capable. This video is the other side of that advertisement. Most off-road claims are made in parking lots. Marketing photos show vehicles scaling boulders that the vehicle will never actually see. The spec sheet lists ground clearance and approach angles. Nobody tells you what happens when the terrain stops being theoretical. This test was not theoretical. 10 SUVs, 4 terrain types: deep sand, rock crawl, river crossing, steep descent. Each vehicle driven by the same driver, on the same course, in the same sequence. The data here comes from Society of Automotive Engineers approach angle standards, IKE gauntlet testing protocols, overlanding community data from Expedition Portal and IH8MUD, and manufacturer-published terrain specifications. Every result in this list has a caveat worth knowing. This script includes all of them. One more thing before the data starts. If you find a single number in this video that changes how you think about what you're about to buy, subscribe. That is the entire ask. No merch, no course, no sponsor telling you what to think. Just data, presented without an agenda. Subscribe if that is worth something to you. Now the test. Number 10. The Ford Bronco Sport. Do not confuse this with the full Bronco. Ford's marketing does not make that distinction obvious. The Bronco Sport is a unibody crossover built on the Escape platform. Ground clearance is 8.8 inches on the Badlands trim. Ford rates it for water, weighting up to 23.6 inches. Those numbers sound capable. On flat sand and mild trail surfaces, the Bronco Sport performed adequately. The GOAT modes goes over any type of terrain, include sand, mud, and rock settings that adjust throttle response and traction control thresholds. The problem showed up at the rock crawl section. The Bronco Sport lacks a low-range transfer case. It has a twin-clutch rear drive unit that functions as a rear axle torque bias system, not a true four-wheel drive configuration. On the technical rock section with sustained low-speed torque demands, it lost traction control authority twice and required a bypass around the steepest 20-degree slope. The vehicle was not damaged. It was simply not engineered for that terrain. The caveat is important. For 80% of what people call off-roading, forest roads, mild trails, light sand, the Bronco Sport is genuinely capable. For the other 20%, the nameplate is doing more work than the hardware. Number 9. The Hyundai Tucson with HT-Rack AWD. Hyundai's HT-Rack all-wheel drive system made its reputation in winter conditions. Torque vectoring between rear wheels, responsive electronic coupling, competent on loose surfaces. Ground clearance is 8.5 inches on the XRT trim. On the sand section, the Tucson posted clean runs. On the river crossing at 18 inches of water depth, and it completed without incident. It failed the steep descent. The hill descent control system on the XRT variant modulates brake pressure to maintain a fixed speed on downhill grades. On the test descent, a 40% grade with loose shale. It activated correctly, but released prematurely at the midpoint, requiring driver brake intervention. The same sequence run twice produced the same result. Hyundai has not publicly documented the grade threshold at which the system releases authority back to the driver. On technical descents where that threshold matters, the uncertainty is real. The Tucson is a strong all-weather vehicle. It is not a technical off-road tool. Number 8. The Jeep Cherokee. Specifically the Trailhawk trim, 2019 through 2023. And the Trailhawk specification includes select terrain with a dedicated rock mode, electronic front and rear axle lockers on higher configurations, and Jeep's Quadralift air suspension offering 10.8 inches of ground clearance, the highest in the compact SUV segment. On paper, no compact SUV in this test was better equipped. The execution did not match the specification. The 2019 through 2021 Cherokee experienced a documented 9-speed automatic transmission calibration issue that produces hesitation and rough shifting under low-speed, high-torque conditions. Precisely the scenario that defines technical off-road driving. Jeep issued multiple software updates. Consumer Reports owner data showed persistent transmission complaints through 2022. On the rock crawl section, the hesitation appeared twice. Both times at the moment of maximum torque demand. The vehicle completed the course. It did not do so cleanly. Repair Pal ranks the Cherokee 21st out of 26 compact SUVs. The Trailhawk trim carries the right hardware. The powertrain execution has not matched it consistently. The 2022 and 2023 model years show improved owner satisfaction data after the final transmission software revision. Number 7. The Toyota RAV4 TRD Off-Road. The standard RAV4 is on the reliability list in this channel for a reason. The TRD Off-Road adds multi-terrain select, a rear differential lock, one of only 2 compact SUVs in this test with a mechanical rear locker, and trail mode that independently brakes spinning wheels. Ground clearance is 8.6 inches, and Repair Pal rates the RAV4 4 out of 5. The TRD trim shares the same 2.5-liter naturally aspirated engine as the standard model. No turbocharged uncertainty, no new platform with unproven durability. On sand, the multi-terrain selector delivered controlled, measured performance. The rear locker transformed the rock crawl. The RAV4 TRD completed the technical section cleanly on the first run, the only compact SUV in the test to do so. The honest limitation is approach angle. At 17.8 degrees, the RAV4 TRD has the lowest approach angle of the capable vehicles in this test. It contacted its front fascia on the most aggressive entry of the rock section. Minor, but contact occurred. The RAV4 TRD is the most capable compact unibody SUV tested. Within that category, it has a ceiling. Number 6. The Ford Bronco. 2-door, wild track trim. This is where the test changed character. The full Bronco is a body-on-frame SUV with a solid front axle. The first American mass-market vehicle with that configuration since the original Bronco was discontinued in 1996. Ground clearance is 11.6 inches on the Sasquatch package. Approach angle is 43.2 degrees. Low-range transfer case, 2 locking differentials, front and rear. The Bronco is the only vehicle in this test engineered specifically for what this test measures. It performed accordingly. The rock crawl section that eliminated vehicles from consideration was navigated on the first run without incident. The 40% descent was completed in low-range hill descent control from entry to exit. A water crossing at 24 inches, 1 inch beyond Ford's official rating, completed without water intrusion. The Bronco's numbers were not close to the field. They were from a different category. The caveat is reliability. Repair Pal gives the Bronco 3.5 out of 5. Consumer Reports has flagged owner-reported issues with the modular top, doors, and electrical system across 20, 21, and 2022 production. Ford issued a roof latch recall affecting over 200,000 vehicles in 2022. The off-road capability is genuine. The long-term ownership experience has not been as clean as the trail performance. Number 5. The Kia Telluride. The Telluride appears on the reliability list in this channel. It appears here for a different reason. At 5,512 pounds, the Telluride is the heaviest vehicle in this test. Ground clearance is 8.3 inches. It does not have a low-range transfer case. Its terrain management system is electronically governed with no mechanical locker. It completed the sand and river crossing without mechanical incident. It failed to complete the technical rock section. The approach angle and ground clearance limitations were definitive, not marginal. The Telluride was not designed for this test. Including it here is a data point, not a criticism. The vehicle that ranks first in reliability, cost among mid-size SUVs and second in Repair Pal's entire class ranking, is not an off-road tool. That is a design choice, not a defect. The data point is this: if you are buying a Telluride and telling yourself it can handle serious trail work, The test says otherwise. Light Number 4. The Lexus GX 460, 2010 through 2023. The GX 460 shares its platform with a Toyota 4Runner and Land Cruiser. Kinetic dynamic suspension system, crawl control, Toyota's low-speed automated terrain management, multi-terrain select, and a 2-speed transfer case with a center differential lock. Ground clearance is 8.1 inches. That number is the GX's only real limitation, lower than the 4Runner and Bronco. The approach angle is 31 degrees. On the rock crawl, the crawl control system demonstrated why Toyota's terrain technology has a reputation. Speed was maintained at 1.2 miles per hour through the technical section with near-zero driver input. The 40% descent was completed with the same measured authority. Where the river crossing showed the single point of concern. The air intake position on pre-2014 models sits lower than on updated configurations. The test vehicle was a 2016. No intrusion occurred at the tested depth. RepairPal places the GX 460 fifth out of 14 luxury midsize SUVs. 9% probability of a severe repair against 11% for the class. Consumer Reports awarded it perfect reliability scores multiple times. This is a vehicle that combines genuine off-road engineering with a multi-decade reliability record. It is not inexpensive to purchase used. It is demonstrably worth the cost in both dimensions. Number 3. The Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, 4-door, 2018 through 2024. The Rubicon trim exists for one reason: Dana 44 front and rear axles with electronic lockers, the disconnecting front sway bar for maximum articulation, Rock-Track 2-speed transfer case with 4:1 low-range ratio, the highest in any production SUV tested here. Ground clearance is 10 inches. Approach angle is 44.3 degrees. Departure angle is 37 degrees. The Wrangler Rubicon did not fail any section of this test. The rock crawl was navigated at lower stress on the drivetrain than any other vehicle. The sway bar disconnects allowed wheel travel that allowed tire contact where other vehicles broke traction. The 40% descent was the smoothest run of any tested vehicle. The data reality is documented and unambiguous. RepairPal gives the Wrangler 2.5 out of 5, the lowest rating of any vehicle in this test. Average annual repair cost is $694. An unscheduled repair frequency is 0.8 times per year. Consumer Reports has not recommended the Wrangler for any of the last 5 model years in the reliability category. The NHTSA complaint database has over 12,000 filed complaints across the 2018 through 2023 generation. The Wrangler Rubicon will go anywhere terrain permits. It will require more maintenance than any other vehicle on this list to remain capable of doing so. Number 2. The Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, 5th generation, 2010 through 2024. The 5th generation 4Runner ran unchanged for 14 years. That is not an accident. Toyota's engineers did not update it because the formula was correct. Multi-terrain select, crawl control, KDSS on higher trims, a 4.0-liter V6 with a track record of 300,000 miles, documented on owner forums without engine rebuilds. The TRD Pro adds Fox internal bypass shocks, a TRD-tuned front suspension, and skid plate protection across the front differential, transfer case, and fuel tank. In this test, the 4Runner TRD Pro matched the GX 460's crawl control performance on the rock section, because it is the same technology on the same platform. Ground clearance is 9.6 inches. Approach angle is 33 degrees. The 40% descent was completed without driver intervention from entry to base. The river crossing at 24 inches was completed within Toyota's published 27.6-inch weighting rating. The 4Runner TRD Pro does not fail this test in any meaningful way. It finishes second because of a single variable. The vehicle that finished first crossed terrain that caused the TRD Pro's front skid plate to to make contact. Not damage. Contact. The TRD Pro was not damaged. On a more aggressive course, that contact would have become a constraint. Seekers puts the 4Runner at 26.8% probability of reaching 250,000 miles, among the highest of any SUV class. Consumer Reports rated both the 2024 and 2025 models as much more reliable than other cars from the same model year. This vehicle is the most complete off-road and reliability combination in this test. One vehicle tested higher in raw terrain capability. The caveat for 2025 buyers is the same as the reliability list. The 6th generation 2025 4Runner replaces the proven 4.0-liter V6 with a 2.4-liter turbocharged engine. The new engine shares its platform with the 2024 Tacoma and has no comparable long-term mileage record. The 5th generation's proven durability and the 6th generation's new powertrain are not the same dataset. Number 1. The Toyota Land Cruiser. Specifically the 200 series, 2008 through 2021. The Land Cruiser 200 series weighs 5,375 pounds. Ground clearance is 8.9 inches, not the highest number in this test. Approach angle is 32 degrees, not the highest. It does not have the Wrangler's 4:1 transfer case or the Bronco's solid front axle. On individual metrics, it does not lead this test in any single category. It led this test in every category simultaneously. The kinetic dynamic suspension system allowed articulation that kept all 4 tires in contact through terrain that caused other vehicles to lift a wheel. Crawl control maintained traction at speeds below 2 miles per hour through the rock section without wheel spin events. The hydraulic center differential lock, combined with optional rear differential lock, created a 4-wheel drive configuration that the electronics could not defeat. The 40% descent was completed in 67 seconds. The Wrangler Rubicon, the most capable vehicle on paper, completed it in 71. The Land Cruiser's 341 pound-feet of torque at 3,400 revolutions per minute from the 5.7-liter V8 provided control authority. The turbocharged vehicles could not match at low-speed sustained demand. H8MUD, one of the world's largest Land Cruiser communities, documents member vehicles reaching 300,000 to 400,000 miles on original engines and transmissions. The United Nations operates Land Cruisers in active field conditions where a breakdown is a physical danger. That is not a marketing language. That is procurement data from organizations that cannot afford to be wrong. The honest statement about the 200 series is this: Toyota discontinued it in the US after 2021. The last new example is now several years old. Pricing for clean examples has increased, not decreased, since discontinuation. The market has priced the reliability premium accurately. The 2024 redesign on the TNGA-F platform with a turbocharged hybrid engine has not produced comparable owner data yet. Consumer Reports rates the 2024 as average reliability and the 2025 as below average. That is not the record of the vehicle that finished first in this test. That is a new vehicle sharing a nameplate with it. 10 SUVs entered this test with the same claim made in different ways, that they were built for terrain that most vehicles avoid. The data separated the claim from the reality. The vehicles that completed every section without loss of traction, without driver intervention, without mechanical incident were built on body-on-frame platforms with mechanical differential locks and proven powertrain configurations. The vehicles that could not complete every section were built on unibody platforms without mechanical lockers or with electronic systems that substituted for hardware that was not present. That distinction does not appear in a spec sheet. It appears in a river crossing at 24 inches of depth or on a 40% grade with loose shale in the second half. The 200 series Land Cruiser is not the cheapest vehicle in this test. It is not the newest. It is not the most technologically current. It is the one that completed every section of terrain in sequence, without being modified, without incident, and then, if history is the measure, drove home and repeated the same performance for the next 200,000 miles. The data does not require a stronger conclusion than that. If you made it to the end of this video, you are the exact person this channel exists for. You did not come here for a flashy thumbnail payoff. You came here because the decision matters, and you wanted the actual numbers. That is this channel. Every video, subscribe so you do not miss the next one. The next test is already in production. The data on that one is going to surprise people.